Hello, I hope you can hear me. Um, I'd like to share with you a very special video today, which is about the tribes of Americans, the Native Americans, and I'd like to compare the tribes to the Turkish tribes. When you have a look at the map of South America, I think it is, and North America. So these are the first Americans who went to the continent in the 1600s. But it's been said that they had been living there for thousands of years. They parted with the Turks around 20,000 years ago. They were the descendants, both of them were the descendants of the ancient North Eurasians, and they mixed with the East Asians as well as the Turks. So they had a common ancestor before they split. And I'm sure there are some common tribes who named the same tribal names, who had the same tribal names. I'm going to mention some of them. The first one is the chumash. We have the chuvash in the European part. They are actually Western Eurasians, and these are the Western Turks. They are drawn to extinction, actually. They got assimilated with the Russians, but most of them do know that they are Turks. So they are the only, or let's say the few of the Turkic-speaking communities, Western communities, who are still connected to their ancient ancestors. So one of them is the chuvash, and here we have the chumash. And you remember my last video, I talked to you about the Kalash and the Kalaj tribe. They are also Turkish tribes or Turkic tribes. And then we have here also the Yokuts. So Yokut and Yakut is very similar. I think that they also have something in common. We have, for example, the name Yurek, and here we have Yurok. So I'm just comparing names here, right? As well as the tribal names, of course. So we can say we found at least until now 2. And then we have Okanagan. Okan is a typical Turkish name. So please bear that in mind. Ağa is also a Turkish name. Kaan is a Turkish name. So that makes 3. And also we have, for example, here the Tarahumara. So Tarumar. We have a word called tarumar in Turkish, which is something like turmoil. Maybe turmoil and tarumar are related, who knows? Just to have a look here. And I also know that Pueblo and ancient Çatalhöyük have the same structures, the same building structures. Also, we have here Arıkara, right? Kara is a typical name for black in Turkish. So that's another resemblance. But most important here is the Comanche tribe. So I'm sure you heard of the Kumans and the Kupchaks, the Turkish tribes, the very well-known Turkish tribes. The Kumans, they were in Europe. They were Western Eurasians, and they later, I think, mixed with the Mongols. I'm not sure when they mixed, but the Kumans are a Turkic tribe, and the Comanche are a Native American tribe. So you see the similarity. We found the fourth, at least the fourth common ancestor of both communities. And then we have here Arapaho. You remember last lesson, I told you about the Arab. So Arab and Arapaho, most probably the word Arab was taken from here. Most probably, that's what I think. Karankava we have again, and then we have Ata Kappa. So Ata, Kara, they're all Turkish words. Krieg, for example, reminds me of Greek. So who knows, maybe the Greek people or the Brits, when they took this word, maybe, is it coincidence? I don't know. We have again Yama. Yama is also a Turkish word. So there are some coincidences when we look at the syllables, but there are at least 3 or 4 common tribal names. Look at Cheyenne. Cheyenne reminds me of Chechen. So most probably the Chechen could be or could have a common ancestor with the Cheyenne. Kiowa reminds me of Kiev. Are these all coincidences? So this ancient tribe, the North Americans, the South Americans, the 20,000-year-old cultural heritage, tribal people, they served all the world. That's what I would say. I'm sure these words have something in common, especially the Comanche one, the Chumash 2, which is written here. At least there are 3 of them. If you have a look at the tribes, right? So the Comanche, 1, the Chumash, 2. So you can find, well, if you have a look at the common tribes of the Native Americans and the Turks, I'm sure there were at least 5 tribes of them which had a common ancestor. So these 5, let's say, these 5 tribes, they were definitely related. Yes. And if you count the others that I'm suspicious of, like, for example, the Tarim Basin mummies, who are claimed to be Indo-European, they are not. I think they have definitely something to do with the ancient North Eurasians, the Uyghurs, and of course the American Indians. That's what I think. Because the Uyghurs, one Turkish people, they have also DNA from the Western Eurasians. They have their DNA from all parts of the world. So they are definitely connected with the American Indians. And also, I heard that the Kyrgyz have something common with them. So most Turks, they have European DNA. I would say that we were the ancestral Europeans together with the Native American Indians, because we had the ancient North Eurasian blood. So even if it's 1% or 2%, maybe more, we don't know, I would say that this makes us the ancestral North Eurasians. If you have a look at the archaic human, if you compare the archaic human with the European archaic human, you will see that the Neanderthals, they are not that common in today's Europeans. Let's say, for example, in Central Europe or Western Europe, it was not that common that the Neanderthals thrived there. They mostly thrived in Siberia. I saw a map of the Neanderthals, and they were mostly in the Altai region, in the Ural region, and in Eurasia. Because the percentage of the DNA is more with the Siberians rather than the Europeans. So today's Europeans, they don't carry much ancestors of the Neanderthals, maybe just 1%. But if you look at the Siberians, they have more than 1%. That's what I know from Johannes Krause and from the other DNA researchers. And also the Denisovans, who were Mongoloids. So definitely the Denisovans served the ancient North Eurasians. And if you take the Altai as the common ancestor of both the Native Americans and the Turks, we must conclude that the ancestral lines goes back to a common at least 5 common tribes, which are the Pechanka, not to forget, the Pecenek, the Pechanka, the Comanche, Kuman, what did I say? The chumash, chuvash. It makes at least 3. And the others, which also have a common language. At least they have a common vocabulary. Yes, thank you very much for listening. I wanted to share this map with you. And let's see what else comes out. I will continue making my research, comparing the vocabulary, and let's see what else comes out. Good night.